Welcome, guys. It's glad to have you, and I'm very happy to have you on this YouTube channel again today. Thank you guys for always joining and turning up on each of our videos. So, this is a breaking news. Senator Natasha Kotiuduang and representing Kogi Central Senatorial District has been removed by the Senate as the chairman, the Senate Committee on Diaspora. A number of people is actually surprised about that anyway, but let me just give you the breakdown of what this woman has been experiencing for the past 6 months, just this year 2025 alone, within the Senate, all of what has been happening to her. The first is the change of seat, and that was how everything started. Then we have a removal as Chairman Local Content Senate, Chairman Senate Committee on Local Content. At some point, when people saw her reaction, some of the people that actually came out then to speak in one way or the other, make us understand that one of the reasons why Senator Natasha is angry is because she was removed as Chairman Local Content. And some people said that was not the reason why she's hungry. It's because she's fighting for her right and she does not want her voice and the voice of her constituency, Kogi Central, to be silenced. And after that, all of what happened in the Senate, then we saw that she was given 6-month suspension. After the 6-month suspension, we saw that there was a recall process that kicked off from our constituency, and later we saw that Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, actually rejected that recall, and everything died down. But after that, we saw also an assassination attempt that her family house was being attacked by some unknown gunmen. And back and forth, left and right, we saw several things that happened after that attack. Then, after that, we saw Professor Ugweke Sandra Duru allegations and everything that happened within that period. Before that time, we saw that there was an ongoing investigation by the police, ongoing investigation by the IGP in respect to all of what was said by Senator Natasha, doing an own calling about an attempt by the Senate President and former Governor Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello to silence her. Then after that incident, a criminal charge, criminal defamation was actually filed against her by the Attorney General of the Federation, of which the number of people is also surprised, you understand. And after this incident also, she was present in court and she was fined 50 million naira. And after that, she was present in court again to challenge her suspension by the Senate, of which a particular court order was actually being, engaged that the Senate should not suspend her. And after all of the proceeding back and forth legal battle, she was being bailed. She was being released on bail, based on self-recognition. And the court told the Senate to consider recalling Senator Natasha. And now the breaking news of what just happened is that she has been removed as the Chairman Senate Committee on Diaspora. Let me play the video out for you today. You are free to drop your comment and your opinion at the comment section of the video. What do you think is going on? What do you think is going on in the 10th Senate? Yes, a number of people is actually expecting Senator Natasha to resume any moment from now, and prior to her resumption, all of these things is happening. Within the past few months, 6 months, Senator Natasha has passed through a lot of things in the 10th Senate. A number of you say this woman is truly a courageous woman, and this is the kind of person we want in leadership. But let me leave you to the video. Watch and drop your comment and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not subscribed, guys. Peace.
Breaking news. Senator Natasha Akpoti has lost her seat as the chair of the committee in the Senate. She's going to be resuming as just ordinary senator. Any senator is ever ordinary. So, I mean, how do we put it this way? Are these people never tired of distorting the system? Just in February here, she was removed as the chair of the local content committee, and another one in the space of say, call it 5 months or thereabouts.
When she's about to
resume. Are they not tired of distorting the system and creating disturbances here and there?
Well, I have a different view, because the Senate is an institution of its own, and they have their way of running their affairs. it is the practice of the legislative arm, from time to time to change the chairs of committees. What they try to do is to bring in the best hand to share the various committees for optimal performance. But what doesn't sit right with me here is Senator Natasha has been on suspension, and the court just ordered the Senate to reinstate her. And the country is still grappling with whether they are reinstating her or they are going to appeal or whatever. The next day we heard that she has been removed from her seat as a chair. That is what I'm not comfortable with, because it looks as if it's a vendetta thing, because if she has been on her feet and she's been on duty, and then you said you are doing reshuffling and all of that, it wouldn't be a news. But the fact that she has been reinstated and she's about to come back while you are waiting for your CTC and whatever it is before you reinstate her, is he a kind of punishment for her?
Right.
That okay, fine, since the court said we should reinstate you, we have to strive you off your share. That is what I am grappling with.
So eventually you didn't have as much as alternative view from what I had. So it's still a disturbance.
Yeah, it's a disturbance, but again, we shouldn't just
no, we didn't have the right to do it. We are not calling the right to do that. Section 60 of 1999 Constitution made it very clear the Senate can regulate their proceedings and everything, and the right even to suspend any of their members lies with them. But again, those rights and that power they have from Section 60 of the 1999 Constitution is also controlled by Section 36, which gives right to fair hearing, even as much as their own standing orders of 2015, stipulating what can be done. It talked about for minor offenses, you can just tell somebody, oh, leave. You are not going to finish with us for the day. Instead of continuing with the plenary, they will ask you to excuse them for minor offenses. For some other ones, 14 days. Even though you stagger these 14 days, say 3 times, no, they normally sit for 3 times in a week. If you stagger it, across, you are not going to have any suspension more than 4-5 weeks. We were grappling with that. And we're grappling with a reinstatement, and now she's being suspended, not necessarily suspended, being removed outrightly to chair the committee that she was chairing.
Now, the issues are quite disturbing to me. I don't quite agree because, okay, let's take a sequence from how the thing happened. Somebody mentioned the committee chairman and the Senate president interrupted and said that has been changed. So it was not a case of something that was changed with other committee chairmen and announced to the House. And announced to the House that there is a reshuffling of committee chairman.
Yeah, some people were not even aware. Some senators were not even aware.
They were not even aware. So it was like a unanimous decision that was made by the Senate president. And he now announced something in Sika that was now supposed to take the chairman of that committee. Now, my issues with, apart from most senates that we have had from the time of David Mack down the line, we've always seen most of the Senate president as rubber stamp. But this one is actually too obvious. We saw the Senate president on the side of David Mack like a rubber stamp. Beyond a rubber stamp, there was nothing dynamic that they did that they opposed the president. But he's still the tide in the Senate. The Senate was not as riotous or quarrelsome as it is today. I think the virtues of leadership should lie in the Senate president to carry everybody along. If there has been an issue in the Senate and it has even gone to the law, there should be a way at which the Senate president steal the tide and let everything move on smoothly. If not, it's the benefit of Nigeria.
Okay, then Philip, I was in a radio program this morning as a guest at Max FM. It's a radio station, a kind of subsidiary of a TVC, and I was telling them basically that most people, that are in a position of authority, do not understand the impact and implications of their actions. For any action and you make another reaction that is disproportionate, you are going to have a residual action, which at the end of the day, that's going to keep spiraling, and you're going to have connectivities of various actions and inactions, spiraling into something that will make us look like we are in a chaotic situation. Oftentimes they do not even realize that for everything that looks as if our democracy is under threat, you cannot use your, how do I call it, publicity to tell foreign investors to come. These are the things they look after. These are the things that tell any any foreign investor, do I go to this place or not? How are they respectful of their own laws? How are they interested in their own democracy? Stability is important no matter how you look at it. That's why I was talking about this disturbance. Do you think this was the right time to remove this woman as the chair of the Diaspora and NGOs committee, simply because they think there is another person that can do it better?
Absolutely.
Or sincerely you believe it's a political punishment?
Absolutely, this is not the right time. And I do believe that it's outright political punishment. What I feel strongly is Akpabio, as a Senate president, is trying to assert his authority, which he do not have. What you fail to realize is first among equal. They are all senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They just chose him to be the presiding officer, and it ends there. If the Senate so wish that today they are no longer satisfied with his leadership, they could do otherwise. Like he said, before now we have said, oh, the National Assembly, the leadership has always been rubber stamp. Now Nigeria has said what is truly rubber stamp. Now they can't even say whether this is selling or rubber stamp. Because when they have not seen rubber stamp, they were saying they were rubber stamp. Now that they've seen rubber stamp, their mouth has chopped. So Akpabio is being vindictive, because I feel strongly that maybe they want to obey the court order. So what else? What other punishment can we give to this woman, this in quote stubborn woman? Let's take away her committee's chair. But not to worry. Natasha is always equal to the task. She will come. In the first place, she was not elected to the Senate to be a chairman of any committee. She was elected to the Senate to represent Kogi Central. And that she will do when she comes to the House. Whether you remove her as the chairman of a committee or not, it doesn't stop her from being a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These men who are in offices should learn that power is transient. It doesn't last forever. There's a video or there's a picture making the round in the social media, showing how Olusegun Obasanjo, former president of the country, former head of state, prostrated before Ladoja, who is the next in line to be the law of Ibadan. And the story beside is saying that this is the same person Obasanjo orchestrated his impeachment as a governor for your state. Today is the one going there to prostrate to as a traditional leader. So people should learn from other mistakes. Because you are a Senate president, it does not give you the right and the power to punish your fellow senator just because they disagree with you. They to allow the voice of dissent in this country, for crying out loud.
All right, that of Ladoja reminds me, when during that travel, it was Adedibu that the godfather then was quarreling with Ladoja, and a journalist came to Pa Adedibu and said, "Daddy, please, you people should take this thing easy. That when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffer." Adedibu said, Ladoja is not an elephant. What is Adedibu today? What is Adedibu today?
Exactly.
Life itself is even transient as we know it, except the life beyond that we do not understand. Okay, coming back to what we are saying, if you see the judgments of Muritala Nyako, it was simply issue of proportionality, which is actually where I started by having action, and when you have a reaction that is much more than the action, you are going to have a residual, and you see that she was talking about you being excessive in punishment. The judgment never removed Senate's ability to
punish.
to conduct their proceedings in orderly manner, because you can't go there and be misbehaving anyhow. Certainly, you are not going to do that. That would be a content of a legislative house that was dealt with in their powers and.
But some have done it anyhow. Like Omo Agege carrying my list. I took it to a patrol.
So certainly the Senate reserves that power to control,
discipline.
to discipline you, but it shouldn't deny your people, representation by any means, and it shouldn't be excessive. Now we're grappling with that. Another thing coming on, removing her from her seat. And it was just done February from local content. We know we had a lot of reports that certain oil infrastructures were located in a central, that is what do we call it? Senatorial district. Instead of for Niger Delta region and all that, and maybe it wasn't what was meant for them or something like that. When she was moved to the Diaspora and NGOs Committee, people thought maybe it was a kind of punishment too. Do you think this one is another one? Because Natasha, I don't know her right to fight this, because if anybody does what he or she is authorized to do, you are almost not able to fight it through.
You see, they must realize at a point in time, Ibrahim came here the other day and told us how Khartoum, a modern city built over decades of time, has turned into robots. And that these kind of things are what brings about anarchy in society. When it's being done, it looks dictatorial. Because as it is right now, it has become of a sort a dictatorial Senate president that we have, that you cannot even talk on the floor of the House.
But in this case, he has probably done what he's authorized to do. That is why it's difficult.
You see, in being authorized to do what you have to do, you also have to give a consideration to other people that are in the Senate.
The truth remains that.
Oh, hold on. The timing is wrong.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And these are things that make polarization in the House very obvious. And people...
Is it only in the House? You people are so concentrated in the House. Philip, let me come to you with this. I want you to add this at once. You're always concerned in the House, in the Senate. This is not in the House, in the Senate. It's in the entire country. I just told you that foreign investors, for example, rely on all this distortion to kind of measure our stability. But these people take actions. They don't even understand the level of impact their action gives to our economy, to our polity, even to our nation as a civil society. Do they really understand? Do they realize that we have chosen democracy?
Good question. That's where I was going to go to. We have said it on this table over and over that we have chosen democracy. Those who are the actors at the moment, do they understand the meaning of democracy? Now, coming to the issue of the House, like whether he has the right or the power, the rules of the House do not give this presiding officer express power, absolute power to appoint the committee. There's a selected committee for the selection of committee chairs, yes. And that includes the leadership of the entire Senate, which is the Senate president, the majority leader, and all the rest of them. I don't think there's any record to show that that committee sat and agreed that Natasha should be removed as a chairman of the committee's chair. That's the Diaspora Committee. There's nowhere in it. You see, in democracy, the question you said, the democracy says it's the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. What do they mean by that? It means that every person that is involved, that the action will affect, will be involved in taking the decision. That is why we elect them to the National Assembly to represent us. That's why they are representing constituency. That is why Natasha is representing the entire Kogi Central District. And now these people have been deprived for over 5 months. Their voice has not been heard. And now that they are trying to come back to democracy, you are the only thing they have in addition. You are taking it away from them on the frivolous excuses that you have power to allot committee or not to allot committee. You see, so when you say that this is the problem we have, and drawing from his analysis and your analysis, that this is what led to anarchy in society, and this is what led to investors staying away from society. You are not far from the truth. But so that is why it is difficult to understand whether the actors today understand what democracy is, because it is your action that we enable, we attract investors to your country. If your action shows that you are not democratically in nature, they won't come here because they can't bring their money when they are not sure. The money they are not secure.
There are no rule of law.
So it's sad.
All right. Somebody asked me today, looking at what the ordeal that Natasha is going through, at least part with respect to this being in the Senate, being expelled from the Senate. If it is a sexist thing, like the men being against women. We used to have about 8 female senators before. I think it's down to 4 or 3 now. So you see, that question becomes difficult because truth remains that why I felt the judgment, was good enough, repudiating the excessive, if I should use force, the excessive punishment. I think the court stayed away from applying any punitive measure
To the House.
to the Senate, because there are records, there are precedents. If you remember in 2018, Reno versus Dino versus House of Reps, it was the same thing.
Yes.
They say, no, you can't give somebody a suspension arbitrarily without time bound. No, there's nothing. You can't do that. You can't prevent the people from he is representing from being represented. The same thing happened even earlier. The case between Jubril Abdulmumune versus the House in 2017, and it also happened even in Dume's case in 2018 versus the Senate.
Even the Ningi's case is very
happening.
Yes.
So when all these are decided cases, precedents, and the Senate team went ahead to do something like that, who would punish them?
The law should actually
Do they
punish
do
them.
this because she's a woman?
Yes,
Because they have done it to men before.
yes,
in some
exactly.
form.
It has never been done to a woman.
In some form.
Yeah,
So
now
can we now summarize it that it's
It's
because
a
she's a
sexist
woman?
thing. No.
And who would punish these people?
No, most of the time, for example, I don't think it's being done to her because she's a woman.
I don't also
I
believe
think
so.
it's been done to her because she's in the opposition.
Because she has a dissenting
and she
voice.
has a dissenting voice. And she plays by the book. You see, there's things you play by the book, and sometimes they try to subvert what you try to play by the book, or try to be activist in nature, whatever you call it. Now, who will punish these people?
Yes.
The law ought to punish them.
But hold on. If you notice, Natasha was found guilty of contempt of court.
Yes.
She was slammed 5 million naira
2 dailies
and was asked to
publication
publish it.
and Facebook
that's
apology.
a punishment.
Yes.
But the court didn't met any punishment to the senator who had precedents before, but still went ahead
To do the same. Now, the court they will tell you that didn't come on their table. Do you understand? Now, I don't know if it was part of the prayers of Natasha.
Let me tell you.
I know what you want to say.
Yeah.
That most of the time the court gives you more than what you ask for, so that they will not do it again. But I've said it. I said the rule of law.
Even there was application for this contempt of court.
Yes.
There was no request for 5 million specifically.
Exactly.
And it was slammed.
It was slammed. Do you understand? So that's why I would say that the judiciary itself must take its own rulings very, very seriously, and also make sure they follow up to make sure that things are melted out to people that don't
That
follow.
rule in very serious. Philip, I'm coming to you then. Adara Modu, the spokesperson of the Senate, said there is no order from the court saying that they must reinstate, ordering them to reinstate Natasha expressly. That the court merely interpreted what is admissible, that the punishment was excessive. It's different from an outright and express order. He said it, as a matter of fact, he said that the ball is in the court of Natasha to first of all go and do those apologies and all that. Then the Senate will sit and decide on what to do. Very comfortably said.
You see, this is where we have issues. This is where the question you always ask come into play. Do we choose democracy for ourselves, or democracy was imposed on us? If we choose democracy by ourselves, then we should abide by the tenets of democracy. But here we are. The judiciary were meant to interpret law, and the executive were meant to execute them. This is judiciary, a dispute is brought before them. I wouldn't want to say that the judgment is one-sided, because I don't know how he came into that reasoning. If, like rightly said, if you found Natasha wanting in some area, you meted some kind of punishment on her. The area where you found this Senate to go excessive, what did you do?
What is the punishment?
So you cannot blame in this regard. You cannot blame the spokesman of the Senate because the judgment favored them.
Yes.
It is either they will choose to, reinstate her, or they will do otherwise, because the court merely said that, oh, what you did was excessive. If it is excessive, what next? The court never said. So who do you blame? So this is where the question again arises. Are we practicing democracy? Or is a government of one man for the people and by the one man?
All right.